folks. Welcome to Sydney Read a Book. I'm Mike, and this is Sydney.
That's me.
She read a book, and she's going to explain that book to me, because I don't have time to read all the books out there in the world. There's far too many books, and they write more and more every day. Plus, I'm just not going to read this book.
Yeah.
I don't know. But maybe you'll be interested in it. And so what happens is Sydney has read a book, and she's going to explain it to me in 20 minutes. Now, I think that's it. I think that's all we need to know.
Okay.
If you are concerned about spoilers, there will be spoilers. She's going to explain to me the whole book. Let's find out how it goes. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, 20 minutes starting now.
Okay. The book that I read is Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen.
Northanger?
Northanger Abbey.
Northanger.
Yes. So, chapter 1.
Yes.
We are introduced to the Morlands, which our main girl is Catherine Morland.
Okay.
And her family is very, like, common, plain, respectable people. Not super rich, not super poor. They're just your regular family.
Where are they?
They are in England,
In England.
somewhere.
Somewhere in England.
They don't specify where, but they do specify where she goes.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
And when are they? Do you know
They
when?
are 1800s.
1800s.
Like,
Okay.
they're not. It's not super specific on.
Steam-powered era.
Yes.
All right, good.
Yes. No, before
No,
that.
Before steam power.
Before that, it might be 17. I don't know what.
Okay.
They have horses and carriages.
Horses just...
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right.
So, then we're introduced to their family friends, which are the Allens.
Okay.
And so there's Mr. and Mrs. Allen, and Catherine, the main character, is invited to go to Bath with Mr. and Mrs. Morland, which is the city.
Yeah.
It's like going into
Yeah,
town.
I think they call it Bath.
Bath, yes,
Maybe.
of course.
I don't know.
So that's chapter 1. It's just kind of like introduction. She has, I believe, she has a couple siblings. I think she has 3 siblings, and she's like in the middle.
Okay. Middle child syndrome.
Middle child syndrome, most certainly. So, they get to Bath quite fine.
Mm-hmm.
They're lodged on Pulteney Street?
Pulteney?
Pulteney, yeah,
Pulteney.
I think.
All right.
And then,
I thought you were going to say they're lodged on a pole. That was weird.
No. So Mrs. Allen is like the one taking care of her because Mr. Allen is going there for like his health because Bath has a lot of like baths.
Yeah.
You know, like the public baths.
Spa, that's what they used to do in like the early times.
So he's going for his health.
Yeah. The refreshing waters.
Yes.
Revitalizing.
Yes. And speaking of revitalizing, Mrs. Allen and Catherine go shopping and like get her hair cut, like get her dressed up to go to the upper rooms, which is where that's where everyone like goes to hang out. And like and it like talk about other people. That's pretty much all they do is they just go there and then they talk about other people.
That's what you did before TV and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just go talk
and
about
they
other
go to
people.
like dance too. Like it's a place to dance.
Boy, this sounds like a great place.
Oh, I would love to go to the upper rooms. It sounds delightful. So, upper rooms are very fun, but Catherine has no one to dance with, and her and Mrs. Allen are alone. Like they don't really have any friends there because Mrs. Allen's like friends, like that she met up with them last year, but they didn't go this year for whatever reason.
Okay.
And so Catherine like isn't really like the star of the room, but she does have 2 guys who like notice her a little bit and like make like comment to each other. So
Did they do that?
they're like, oh, she's kind of pretty. Or I don't remember like specifically what they said.
Right.
But they're like, so she's
Do
like,
they have fans and stuff at this time? That seems like a fan
yes,
thing.
there are no fans mentioned, but I'm sure in the movie probably.
Yes. Is there a movie of this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea how good it is.
Great.
I have not seen it. So, okay. Now we're introduced to Mr. Tilney, who until the end of the book I thought was named Tinley. So if I mess up and say Tinley, that same person.
Okay.
I just got those letters mixed up. And so they're in the pump room now.
The pump room.
Which I believe is where you get like the mineral water
I would
stuff.
think, yeah.
Yeah. And so Tilney's like kind of flirty with her, and then they dance together.
Who's this dancing? Wait,
Tilney and Catherine.
Tilney,
Yeah.
or
Tilney
the guy
Tinley, whichever one.
and Catherine.
And Catherine dance, and then they're kind of like flirty and fun.
Okay.
And so then Tilney's like kind of like he's like a funny guy. Like Mrs. Allen is like blabbing to him about dresses, and he's kind of like making like sarcastic comments that like only Catherine kind of gets, which is weird because she's not.
That is bonus flirting.
Yes, she's not the most like aware person on the planet. She lets a lot of things just go. So, but he kind of gets her.
Sure.
You know?
Now, I'm sorry. Whose point of view is this book written from?
It's third person, but Catherine is her thoughts and stuff. But it's written in
third person, limited, omniscient.
Yes, you're right. So, okay, where am I? Okay. Chapter 4.
Chapter 4.
Oh boy. Oh god. Okay. We need to speed up.
Yeah, here we go.
So she's looking for Tilney, and he's not in the pump room, right? And she was like super excited. But good news. Sort of good news. Mrs. Allen meets her friend from school, Mrs. Thorpe. And these two are so fake. So Mrs. Allen she's like kind of conceited and really only cares about like herself, and then so does Miss Thorpe.
Okay.
So they're talking at each other, not with each other, you know. And
these all strike me as rich people. Are these all rich people?
Doing
rich people
no,
things?
they're like I'm middle class or so. I think the Thorpes are a little bit more wealthy, and I think
like Thorpe.
Yeah, I think so. I think on like the wealth spectrum, it's like Thorpe, Allen, Morelands.
Okay.
And so Catherine meets this girl named Isabella, and Isabella and like the Thorpes know Catherine's brother, and so Isabella knows Catherine's brother and is like, oh, you're a lot like your brother, and so then they start hanging out, and they become besties.
Sure. That's how besties sometimes work.
Yes. And they click right away. So, so they go to the theater, and Catherine's like really looking for Tilney, and he isn't there again. So she's like, oh crap, did he leave?
Yeah. Was our one night thing just a one night thing?
Exactly, yeah. And so then the Thorpes, Mrs. Allen and Catherine are like, they're homies now. They're all homies. Yeah. And again, like, we just see how Mrs. Allen and Mrs. Thorpe are just so fake to each other. Like, just constantly talking at each other.
Yeah. But they like platitudes and stuff. They say like nice things, but they don't really mean it, or they.
No, it's more of like, oh, my daughter did this today, and like and then Mrs. Allen doesn't have any kids, so it's like that she's like kind of like flexing on each other, but Miss Allen doesn't really have anything, so she's just like, you can tell she's upset, but she's like, oh my gosh, how fun, you know.
So we don't like Miss Thorpe then.
No, well, ooh, I have opinions on the Thorpes.
Okay.
So, Let's see. Okay. So Catherine and Isabella are hanging out, and Catherine's super into this book called Udolpho. And it's a scary book. She loves horror books. Like, that's her favorite genre to read. And Isabella is like kind of interested, but like doesn't really care. And so then Isabella shifts the conversation to like boys, like talking about boys.
Oh. And
so then Isabella is like, oh, I see like two guys staring at us. Like, we should leave. Like, they're being annoying. But then the two guys leave, and then Isabella's like, well, we should leave now. And Catherine's like, dude, we're gonna catch up with them. Like, why would you want to? And she's like, no, like, it's fine. I have to like show you a hat. So
I have to show you a hat.
Yeah. So it's excuse. Like Isabella definitely, she says one thing and does another, like a lot. Yeah. A lot. And so they're walking through town, and then they all like quite literally run into their brothers. They're like riding on a horse and gig, and so we have James Morland, who's Catherine's brother, and then John Thorpe. And I hate John Thorpe. Ooh, I'll get into that. So, this is when we first really see how kind of like Catherine is, because John has a very obvious crush on Isabella. And Catherine just doesn't see it whatsoever. She's just super excited that her brother's in town, and she thinks that her brother came to visit her, not Isabella.
I see.
So
does Isabella see that he's got a crush?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're flirty.
All right, flirt away.
And so then stupid John is like flirting with Catherine and is just so annoying. All he talks about is himself, like all the time, and he is even more hypocritical than Isabella. Like, he annoys me. And so Catherine asked John about Udolpho, her favorite book, and he goes on this like full page rant about how stupid novels are and like how much he hates them.
In the middle of a novel?
Yes. And
Scandalous.
I know, he's the worst.
He's the worst.
So...
But halfway through.
Oh goodness. Oh no. Okay, so we have James asking Isabella to dance, and so then Catherine has to dance with Thorpe because it's like the brothers and the sisters, and like she has to do it, but she's like, ugh. And so again, Catherine's just not picking up on the fact that James likes Isabella. So they're at the dance, and John is nowhere to be found, right? And so Isabella and James are ready to go dance. And Isabella's like, no, I'm not going to go dancing until Catherine has someone to dance with. And then literally like 2 minutes later goes to dance with James, right? So she's...
Isabella
sucks. And so then Tilney does show up.
Oh,
so
finally.
Tilney's at the dance.
Where's he been?
We don't know.
Oh.
Yet. I don't remember if we ever actually find out.
Oh, okay.
So, but she can't dance with him because she's already dancing with John.
No.
Right? And then, so, Catherine's introduced to Tilney's little sister, Eleanor.
Okay.
And we love Eleanor.
We don't love Eleanor.
Eleanor's fantastic.
Eleanor sounds like a good name.
Yes, and...
Little sister, too.
Yeah, and then, so, Isabella is just on her fake stuff again, and is like, I'm not gonna dance with you, James, and then goes to dance with him again, like, ugh. Yeah, and then Catherine has a chance to dance with Tilney, but he already had a partner. So she was sad about that.
Poor Catherine.
And so Catherine's over it, just absolutely over it, but her goal now is to become friends with Eleanor.
Oh.
And so she just wants to like chill and read, but then the Thorpes and her brother pressure her into going on a carriage ride, and then John is just being the worst. And is like, he's constantly talking about money and drinking, and then he's like, oh, James's gig, like the horse and carriage thing sucks, it's gonna fall apart. And Catherine's like, stop then. And then he immediately backtracks and is like, no, it's totally fine, like if I was driving it'd totally be okay.
Oh.
So he just like, he insults people, and then once he's called out on it, he backtracks.
Okay. I feel like the carriage better fall apart for plot reasons.
Yeah, it's surprising they don't.
Oh.
There's not too much action in James
Okay.
in Jane Austen novels.
Okay.
So Isabella is ditching Catherine a lot, and is like going with James all the time, even though she said like, we're besties, we're gonna stick together this whole trip. And then so finally Catherine and Tilney get to dance together again. And then Thorpe is being stupid and dumb and lies to Tilney and says, I was supposed to dance with Catherine. Like, she already agreed to me. And then
He lied.
Tilney, like, calls him out and then proceeds to... This is, like, one of the, like the big scenes in this book.
The big action scene?
He compares dancing to, like, marriage. And is like, well, it's, like, two partners. And he's telling this to Catherine. And she's like... Ooh. Weird part where Catherine thinks Tilney's dad is hot. We're just gonna skip over that.
Alright.
And so then the Tilneys invite Catherine to go on a walk with them the next day.
Okay.
Problem. It's raining.
Can't go on a walk in the rain.
Can't go on a walk. You're gonna get muddy, and that's bad. And so then the stupid Thorpes and James again drag Catherine onto a carriage ride, because they're going to go see a castle, and there's a castle in Udolpho, and...
The book, Udolpho.
The book, yeah, and so she's, like, super excited.
Oh, good, yeah. You said castle in quotes, is it not?
I don't know why, I'm not sure why I did that.
Carry on.
Because they don't end up going to the castle, so they're going to a castle they didn't end up going. And turns out they ended up passing by the Tilneys because it stopped raining, and so she, like, told John Thorpe to turn around, and he was like, no. So she looks like... she's being mean and, like, ignoring them. So she's like, crap. No. And so she, like, sprints over to the Tilneys' house the next day and is trying to apologize to Eleanor, but Eleanor's not there. But then when she's walking around the house, Eleanor's leaving with General Tilney, with their dad.
Oh.
And so...
So the Tilneys don't want...
Yeah.
They're
well, no. So then she goes to another dance, and Tilney comes to Catherine and is like... And she's like, hey, I'm so sorry. She's able to explain herself. And he's like, no, I'm not angry at all. We're totally okay. And they plan to walk together as soon as they can. Mm. There's no way I'm getting through this entire book in 20 minutes. So, then, let's see. So then again, for like the third freaking time, the Thorpes and James are trying to get Catherine to go on a thing while she has plans with the Tilneys. And she's like, no, absolutely not. And then John goes to tell the Tilneys that Catherine canceled. And Catherine did not say that she wanted to.
Why does everyone speak for Catherine?
I know, that's all what they all do, and it is so annoying.
Yeah, speak for yourself, people.
So Catherine, character development, goes off on them. And they literally had, like, they tried to, like, physically hold her back from going to explain herself to the Tilneys. And then she, like, breaks free and she's like, screw you guys. And she, like, sprints over to their house and, wait. Oh yeah, she explains herself to the Tilneys. She's like a little unhinged about it, but they're like, okay, yeah, you're fine.
Okay, please just stop yelling at us.
Yeah, she was like, I'm so sorry. General Tilney, their dad, is certified swag. He's just like a smooth, cool dude, right?
And a general.
Yeah.
I picture he's always walking around in his like.
Oh, all the time, yeah, and he's got a swagger walk, and he's super cool. Okay. So they finally go on a walk, and it is so much fun. They, both Eleanor and Tilney, his first name is Henry, but I'm just gonna call him Tilney.
That's fine. I've known him as Tilney.
Yes. They are both so into Udolpho, like they love novels, and they like recommend new novels to her, and like they have fun conversation, and Tilney's like joking around, and like he made like a joke like at Catherine, and Eleanor like sided with Catherine. It was like don't be a sass. Okay. So we love Eleanor.
Yeah, we do love Eleanor. Yeah, she's on our side.
Yeah. And so chapter 15, James and Isabella are engaged, right? Yeah. Again, Catherine. It finally clicks with Catherine that they're.
She just noticed they're. Well, this flirting has really blossomed. That was quick.
Yeah, it was very fast. But then Isabella's weird because she's like, oh, well, my family's too poor. I don't know if your family's gonna wanna like gonna approve the marriage.
Okay.
So, drama there.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know that the Morlands like aren't rich. Like they're like same level of rich pretty much. So it's like, it's not that big of a deal. If anything, the Thorpes were more rich than the Morlands. But then the marriage is approved, and then freaking John comes in and basically proposes to Catherine, but again, Catherine, and she doesn't realize like how encouraging she's being about it. He doesn't like ask her hand in marriage yet, but he like is making some like comments. I don't remember specifically what he says, but he's like trying to check if she wants to get married, and she's accidentally like really enthusiastic about it.
Okay.
And so that was part 1, and it's been 18 minutes.
Well, keep going. Our first episode is an experiment.
Okay,
we'll see.
So
maybe we'll do it in 2 20-minute segments.
That's probably a good idea. Let's see.
Well, we could save some time with the ba-ba-bas.
Oh, right. I'm reading. The Tilneys are like acting weird for a little bit. And Catherine can't figure out why, but then at the dance later, they're normal. And then Captain Tilney, who is Henry and Eleanor's older brother. So we've got General Tilney, dad, Captain Tilney, brother.
Right. That's how ranks and work.
And so Isabella, who is engaged to Catherine's brother, is flirting with the captain and then goes to dance with him. Which, like, drama. You are literally, like, that's, like, the biggest social sin that you could do in this situation.
Where's her fiancé? Watching it all?
He's delivering, like, the letter to, like, the Morlands to ask about getting married to Isabella.
While he's gone? She's always dancing away?
Gone. Yes, they literally just got engaged. So then she gets the marriage terms from the Morlands, and both Isabella and her mom like are acting weird about the finances, and like because they didn't get because like the families like give money to the other family for like marriage things, and they like didn't get as much as they like expected, and they get weird about it.
Okay.
So.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. So then the Allens and Catherine decide to stay for 3 more weeks, And so Catherine tells Eleanor, and Eleanor's like, crap, that's so great, but...
Oh, crap, that is so great.
But we're leaving in a week.
Oh, crap.
But, good thing, General Tilney invites Catherine to come with them.
Oh.
Yeah. And so they're going to Northanger Abbey.
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
They're going to Northanger Abbey.
They're going to Northanger Abbey.
Oh, they haven't.
Where
That's the title.
That's
That's
where
where
the
they
Tilney live.
got it. They haven't been there.
No.
This whole time.
No.
Got it. Jane
And-
Austen, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So Catherine, with her overactive imagination, with like the scary books, is 100% convinced it's gonna be like a haunted castle, and
Whoa.
she's like,
She's excited for
"This is
this.
gonna be the best freaking week of my life.
Okay.
This is gonna be so cool."
Once again, before
So-
TV, dancing, gossip, and hauntings.
Yes. And so, chapter 3, Isabella is... her vibes are whack, right? She's being weird.
I don't trust
And
this
then-
Isabella.
No, you shouldn't. She sucks.
Okay.
And then she brings up John proposing to Catherine, and Catherine's like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh,
like, just completely doesn't know.
All right.
And so then like that gets resolved. So she doesn't talk to John about it, but Isabella's like, "Okay, that's weird," but she like doesn't really care because all she cares about is herself. And then Isabella is super flirty with the captain again, and Catherine's like, "Well, she just doesn't know what she's doing." Isabella knows what she's doing, but Catherine just sees the best in people
Okay.
all the time.
So, yeah, all right. So, Isabella, or Catherine wouldn't pick up on it anyway if Isabella was being...
No. She's like, okay, something is going on here, but like, there's no way Isabella like is doing this intentionally. All right, Catherine.
Okay. Maybe we should go upstairs and discuss.
Yes. So James is back, Isabella's fiance.
Ooh.
And Isabella
He is
acting weird.
Okay.
Acting weird. And so Catherine talks to Tilney and is like, "Hey, your brother's being flirty," but like doesn't say that Isabella's flirting back because, and Tilney's like, he knows about the engagement, but like he's his own man. I can't tell him what to do. Like I'm not gonna get involved with this, right? He's like, it's not my business, because you kind of get the sense that he doesn't like Isabella, and he's like, I'm gonna let this ship sink on its own.
That's her brother.
No, wait. Who do you think? Whose brother?
Isabella's brother. No. Who's
No.
Right.
So Catherine's talking to Tilney, and about Tilney's brother, the captain, flirting with Isabella. And so Tilney's like, my brother is his own person.
I'm starting to feel like Catherine.
Okay. Okay, does that...
Yeah,
does
I
that
think so.
dynamic
I
make
think
sense?
I got
Okay,
it. All
okay. Then we are off to Northanger Abbey.
Northanger Abbey.
And the general kind of switches its tune and is like weirdly overbearing and is like super like just needs to know what's happening all the time and is just very like in on the action all of a sudden when he was
That's his
super
place
chill
though, right?
before. Yes. And so, but the cool part is then halfway through the trip, the general and Tilney switch seats. So now Catherine and Tilney are sitting together. And Tilney gives Catherine like a long story about like how scary Northanger Abbey is gonna be and like how haunted it is. And he makes up a specific story of like, oh, you're gonna find like a chest or something that's gonna have like something in it, and then you're gonna find a cabinet with papers in it, and then he like doesn't go any further than that. Like,
Is this
he
him
just
trying to
leaves it.
propose again? Because he's doing a terrible job.
No.
This
This is yes, sort of. He's trying to like flirt with her and like
Okay.
because he knows that she gets an
Yeah.
absolute kick out of it.
Yeah, no, it sounds great if you're into that.
And so they get to the Abbey, and she's a little bit disappointed because it's not like the castle she imagined. But she's still like, okay, I'm gonna have a good time. No worries.
Okay.
It's
a trailer.
She gets it's like a trailer home. It is not. No, it's just it's like
Just
it's
not quite the castle? All
Yeah,
right.
exactly. So Catherine gets to her room, and there's a chest in her room. And she's like, "Oh my god!"
As
Jesus
foretold.
Christ. Oh my goodness gracious! And she's like really letting Tilney's story get into her head.
Yeah, she opened it.
And she doesn't get to open it yet because she has to get to dinner. And the night, so like it's fine when the general isn't there, but the second he is, it gets like super tense and awkward. And like Catherine doesn't pick up on things, but she can pick up on this.
Okay.
So it's like very obviously
Something's
tense.
going on.
Yeah. And so then Catherine gets back to her room and she finds papers in a cabinet and like, but it's too dark. And like when she finds the papers, then the lamp goes out and she freaks herself out.
I never knew so much suspense could be over.
No, it's
just
intense.
open the thing and read the thing.
Yeah, well,
go in the sunlight.
She could no, it was nighttime.
Go in the moonlight.
So she couldn't read it.
Oh,
and so,
whatever.
Turns out the next morning they're just a receipt for laundry.
Awesome. Oh, great.
And she's like, "All right, that's embarrassing.
So am I.
That's embarrassing." And
all this tension built up.
I know, and she's like, I'm a silly goose for that. Okay. And so then the general takes Catherine and Eleanor on a walk, and it's weird, and he's just very overbearing and like always checking in on Catherine, like making sure everything's okay. And she's like, "Dude,
have you found any receipts?"
Yes. And so
haunted receipts.
Turns out the Tilney's mom passed away. And somehow Catherine gets it in her head that the general was a bad husband, right? And she's like, "Oh my God, did he murder his wife?"
That's a leap to make.
She does that. I think that's later, but she's like freaking herself out. She's like, "Oh my God, this guy sucked," and like that's why he's so tense and like freaking out about it. She really gets in her own head. Like she just lets her imagination run wild.
I see. Yeah.
And so then they finally tour like the actual house, and Eleanor is gonna take her to a door, and the general is like, "No, you're not going in there." Like,
well, we're going in that door.
Way.
Well, we are.
And so then, obviously, Catherine freaks out, like in her head is like, "Oh my God, what is going on?"
If there were receipts in that box, imagine what's behind that door.
And so then they try again the next day, and then the general finds them again. Is like, "You're not going in there." And so then Catherine's like, "Oh my goodness gracious! Tonight I am going in that room. I need to know.
I need to know too, Catherine."
And of course, it's not as scary as she imagined, right? But then because at this point she is fully convinced that the general murdered his wife.
Sure,
like guaranteed.
Yep, as you will.
And so then as she's leaving, she bumps into Tilney, and he's like, "What were you doing?" And
I certainly wasn't in that room.
But of course not. And then Tilney's like, "Dude, my father did not murder my mother. My mother got sick, and like he was by her bedside like every single night. Like
how close?"
Yeah. So Catherine is super embarrassed, and she's like, "Oh my God!
Oh my God!
I thought that my boyfriend's dad murdered his wife, and he most certainly did not."
You know what? It's a common mistake.
It's how it goes.
Sure.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think your future father-in-law is a murderer, and that's just how it goes. And so she tells Tilney, like, "I'm so embarrassed," and he's like, "Don't worry about it," and like he doesn't bring it up again. Like he's like, "Just don't stress. Like whatever. I don't care." Which weirdly good. I have thoughts on Tilney and Catherine. I'll talk about it at the end.
Okay.
And so drama. Catherine gets a letter from James. Isabella and him split up. And Isabella is now marrying the captain.
Well,
shocker. Well, yeah. Right?
It's
most definitely because the Tilneys are way more rich than the Morlands. 100%.
No, all right. Well, Isabella's a no good one anyway. We don't like Isabella.
Yeah, no, we don't. Not at all. Right. And so then, then the Tilneys and Catherine discuss that marriage, and the Eleanor and Tilney are basically like, "There's no way they're getting engaged because the Thorpes are too poor," right? And then Catherine's like, "Ooh, crap, I'm poor."
I just remembered.
This sucks. And so then Tilney has to leave for Woodston, which is where like his house is. But they plan a visit to Woodston. So Catherine's like, "Okay, I'll see my boy toy soon." And so then
she doesn't say that.
Yeah, no, she does not. No, that was not verbatim. I wish it was though.
In the middle of a Jane Austen, my boy toy.
So then this is the one that I wanted to give my book to reference because I don't remember specifically what she says.
All right.
But
you'll have to check out the book for yourselves.
Yes. Isabella sends a letter to Catherine, and she's just being so fake. Like, "I'm so devastated about me and James. Like, I can't believe this." And Catherine's finally like, "Screw this chick. Like, okay, I got it now. She sucks and she's greedy." The general leaves Northanger Abbey, and the vibes are immediately more chill. Like, so now it's just Catherine and Eleanor hanging out. It's the girls. And so then Catherine's like, oh, I feel like I'm overstaying my welcome. She talks to Eleanor, and Eleanor's like, no, I don't want you to leave. Like, I freaking love you.
Any other secret rooms for us to check out?
Yeah. Earlier in the book, it was kind of explained that Eleanor has been super lonely after her mother passed away.
Okay.
Because, like, she's just surrounded by boys all the time, and she's just got no girls to hang out with because they're always busy. Yeah. And so it's just like, so now that Catherine's there, she's like, oh, I got a homegirl now. But then, problem. The next day, Eleanor has to tell Catherine that Catherine needs to leave tomorrow.
Why?
Because the general said so.
Oh, the general.
No explanation given.
Nope, he's just that way.
He just does that. And so, sad vibes.
Sad vibes.
Catherine makes it back home, surprises her family. It's a great little time, and they try to cheer her up by, like, sympathizing with her and reminding her, like, it's good that you're back home, you know, like, it's great to have you back, but nice. she's still
I'd
sad.
rather not be here.
Yeah, exactly. Catherine is, like, not doing anything. She's depressed. She's, like, not doing any housework, and Mrs. Moreland is like, her mom is like, okay, dude, you gotta start. You gotta start doing it. Like, I need some help around here. So she's like, okay, Catherine likes books. I'm gonna go downstairs and get her a book. Tilney is there. He's shown up at the Morelands' house, right? So. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier.
No, I don't know.
I think I skimmed over this because I was worried about time.
Yeah, don't worry.
But way earlier in the book, Catherine saw John talking to the general, right? This was at the theater when she couldn't find Tilney.
Okay.
And so she saw that and was like, weird, but okay.
That's weird.
So turns out, Tilney, now we're back at the Morelands' house, and Tilney explains that John lied to the general about how rich the Morelands are, and when the general found out, he was, like, super embarrassed, and that's why he was being so overbearing, because he was, like, trying to treat her, like, because he thought, because John brags about everything, and he, like, is super, like, he over-dramatizes everything, so he was trying to brag to the general about, like, yeah, I'm dating a girl who's, like, super rich.
Oh.
And so then that's why the general was super, like, oh, is everything okay? Like, because he thought that she was super rich, and that, like, Northanger Abbey was, like, nothing compared to where she lived.
And she was acting like it was nothing because she thought it was a big old haunted house, and it was just not quite.
Exactly.
Oh, misunderstandings.
Yes. So the general was embarrassed, and that's why he sent Catherine home. But then Tilney proposes.
For real?
He proposes for real. And obviously Catherine says yes.
Obviously.
And he had explained, like, but it's like, it's not an issue. The general does not care about the money, but he was just treating her really good because he thought that she was, like,
I thought everyone else cared.
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yes.
So he is as swag and chill as we thought he was.
Just trying to be a nice guy. He was trying to be nice.
Exactly. Yes.
Failing miserably.
So the Morelands are like, yeah, go ahead, get married, but we can't approve it until the general gets over his weird vibes, and he, like, immediately does.
Oh, well, I could.
Yeah, he has a very quick switch.
Yes. I can develop my character like that.
It was great.
Years of training, don't you know?
But of course. So, also we find out that Eleanor gets married to her man. Oh. Which we didn't, like.
I didn't know she had a man.
Yeah, no, neither did I. I don't remember I don't think it was mentioned earlier in the book. Okay. But it was like, Eleanor is happily married.
Oh, and by the way.
Like, oh, cool. So that was nice. And he's
side
like,
quest happy.
Yeah, he's, like, a fantastic guy. Like, sure. No problems.
Of course
there.
He is.
And then the book ends with Catherine and Tilney getting married. And that's Northanger Abbey, and it took me only 14 minutes more than we anticipated.
That's okay. You know
what? That's not bad.
What I thought we might do, maybe for the other, maybe we'll do a half hour, then a 10-minute,
thoughts and opinions.
Thoughts and opinions. Yes.
Okay.
So there is a lot about money and, like, status of that.
Oh yeah, so I did some reading on like analysis of it or whatever, and it's like Jane Austen kind of like making fun of like the rich people.
Yeah,
she's like, you guys are just, especially like with Mrs. Thorpe and Miss Allen, like how they, because the Allens are a little more rich than like the Morlands are. And so she's just like, check these guys out. They kind of suck, right?
And the fact that they're just like a little more rich is enough.
Yes. Oh yeah. Like they're all within the same. Like none of them have a mansion. It's all like they're all able to afford like a nice house and bath, but it's nothing like.
They're not super ultra wealthy. Exactly. So there's no real point or benefit except to I'm a little richer than you, therefore a little better than you somehow.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, the Thorpes are just weird about money the whole time.
Yeah.
And I hate John Thorpe so much. I skipped over, in my notes, there are a lot of profanities about John Thorpe, but I censored myself.
I did see a number of swears.
Yes, I got excited, but I did censor myself. So, yeah, don't like that. But I really like the parallels of, like, Henry and Eleanor and Isabella and her brother, because like Eleanor is fantastic, but she's like kind of like, she's not as sociable, like she's kind of shy, but like she just wants a little girlfriend and to talk about books. Well, Isabella doesn't care about books. She only cares about boys and money. And so then also like Henry or Tilney is a homeboy. We love Tilney. I do have, I'll get into my opinions on Tilney in a second, but then his parallel is freaking John Thorpe, who sucks. Yeah. He sucks.
Which makes Henry look better, probably.
Yes. Oh, so much so. Yeah. I like fist in the air when when he proposed. I was so excited. The one thing that I don't like about Tilney and Catherine's dynamic is Catherine is very naive.
Yes.
And Tilney doesn't take advantage of that, but he seems to like be more of like a mentor than a husband should be, I think. Okay. Like he treats her like an equal, but there are definitely some points where it just seems like he's teaching her too much. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does. Like, now, how much do you think is that, though, also a product of the time?
Probably. I am definitely looking at this through the 2022 lens. Not whenever. I don't remember. I'm going to look up on this.
You should know the information when this was written.
1798. January through April is when.
So almost 1800s.
Yes.
All right. I believe that's the Victorian era.
Yeah. And it was written in 1817.
What?
Yes.
That was when it was written?
Yes.
Wait. Wow.
Yeah.
1817.
1817.
I had that flipped to 1718. I was like, well,
no.
But 1817 is still pretty old. That's when it was written?
Yes. Yeah, no, she was an 1800s author. Yeah. And her books didn't get published until she freaking died because her husband was stupid and dumb. And he took all the credit for
Ooh.
Yeah. No,
okay.
Screw that guy.
We'll talk about more Jane Austen.
But yeah, that's yeah, I think I went through all like there are some like very small characters. Like
sure.
Eleanor's dad. He's just a guy. He's just yeah.
So now you said there was not a lot of action, and there wasn't. Like I was predicting, tragedies and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's more.
And even like the things that are set up to be like, oh, it's gonna be exciting, end up kind of being nothing.
Yes.
How's your tension being built, and how are you being like engaged in the book? Are you like, is it that the possibility that might something happen? Are you kind of like Catherine when you're like excited for the next thing?
I think the reason I liked it was seeing like her character development of that, because she really does start off like super naive. Yeah. But then you're really rooting for her to like realize these things and like grow as a person, and it's very smooth the way that she like is like, okay, like so she kind of gets over like the social status thing by realizing Isabella sucks, and then she kind of gets over like her, I guess, like childish mentality of like over imagination. Yeah. By realizing that Northanger Abbey is not haunted. So it's like she still loves books, right? But she's like, okay, I can't let this get to my head because it's embarrassing.
Well, and it's I think also a lesson in I don't know, styles of writing from time to time. Like if that book was presented now, like boring. Yeah. But no, it's a slow human develop. It's how humans develop character wise. Exactly. We don't develop just because we have to save the world or whatever, you know, giant thing. It could be just normal, progressive.
Yeah, and it is like it's very like set up. Like Catherine has very like emotional reactions to these things because like there's nothing else exciting going on.
Yeah.
Like if the most riveting thing has happening is like a dance with some people, that's like the height of everything. And she's like lived on like a farm her whole life, so she's like, oh my goodness gracious, this is insane. And so like, you know, like going to like the theater and stuff, she's like never done that before.
And then to learn
so
it's
like,
not that big of a deal, then it's not as huge of a deal as she had made it out to.
Exactly. Yeah, but she
people
has...
is just people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the overall message or kind of a theme that Jane Austen was shooting for with this book?
I think it was definitely to make like a little like a commentary on like the rich people and stuff like that, and then also like a nice coming of age story. That's a lot of Jane Austen's don't have like a big grandiose message. It's just kind of like, look at this fun little love story of like, and she writes, I think, I forgot to mention this earlier, the way she writes male characters is fantastic. Because it's the 1800s. Yeah. Like, she, like, and, like, they, like, you know, men would not treat women good, but the love interests in these books are just so nice and, like, kind and genuinely, like...
You hear that, boys?
Like, romantic.
All you have to be is nice and kind.
Yeah, okay. But like nice for the time period, that was like the highest.
Well, no, I don't think it's that. I think it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. So I do think like that, and it's like a nice little love story too. So it's a very, very fun read, as all of Jane Austen's books are.
Well, that is lovely. Do you have any other last points you want to make on this?
No, I am quite happy with this. It took double the time.
Well, I think this is our first one, and so I think we might maybe just have it be double the time. Maybe we'll have it like, halfway through and we'll discuss. I will not read that book, but I may check out the movie if it's called Northanger Abbey.
It is, yes. I have not seen it. I have no idea how good it is. I know the movie Pride and Prejudice is fantastic, so I don't know if it's the same director.
This is, I've not heard of this book from Jane Austen. I'd heard of the Pride and Prejudice and... Sense and Sensibility. Yeah, that's her two like really big ones. Yeah, but I assume she. And I didn't know that her stuff was not published until after she died. Sorry, Jane. Well, we could talk about that. Good, yeah. All right. If you enjoyed this, comment on it. If you read the book, leave us some comments. If you had things to add, or if things we got wrong somehow, or an analysis we may have totally missed the mark on, let us know. Also, feel free to subscribe to our Patreon there, and that'll help the kid go to college and learn more stuff. Yeah. All right. I think that's all I got. You got anything else? That's all I got. Well, thanks for spending time with us on a book that Cindy read. Thank you very much. It's got to be a better name for this. Yeah.